Facebook will let us share this out. Come on now, don't be shy. Turn my phone volume down. Alright, there we go.
It's time to get this thing started. Fools. All of you.
Alrighty. Oh, I know it's gonna be a little bit before people get in here. That's okay. That is a-okay. So we got flying around here. Ooh. Sean White has shared your stream. Alright, so we've got this. It's a dice bag attempt. Right? And it's gonna end up being a pretty large bag as it is. So let's see here. Hey Crystal, how you doing? Just mulling over what project to work on tonight. I don't really know where I left off with this. Trying to make sure all my edges are in the right place. Doesn't look like it goes like that. Can't complain. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I did. I had a pretty good Thanksgiving. Had some fried turkey and all the family was there. All my here. My mother-in-law, my brother-in-law. I don't need this many rings to start out with. Let's slow our ambition here a little bit. Nieces and nephews. That was a good time. Let me see if I can figure this out here. It gets a little tight and bulky in here, which it makes this kind of cool ridge, and I want to keep that going. I got to be sure I'm adding the correct number of rings. So I think that's as good a place as any to start. But yeah, had a good Thanksgiving. Had a hell of a day at work today. So, and then the end of my workday was not what I had hoped. Hey Kat, how you doing? So, but it'll all be all right in the end. So this morning, got up, went to work, saw my first patient, no problem. Second patient, I only see him every so often. So they didn't realize I was coming. They were kind of scrambling to get him ready to go for when I got there. But I got there, I saw him, and that worked out. I'm not following something here. No, I am. Okay. But that took a very long time to get through that meeting. One, because, let me move you guys forward here. One, because I had not seen this patient in some time, and so there was a lot of time spent catching up. when patients are followed by therapy, right, and they don't need nursing care, I only see them like once a month, right? But after a long discussion, much longer than my normal visits, I was able to get out of there and head to the next patient. And that guy, he's there I am. Sorry, lost my spot. My third patient needed some labs drawn and PICC line dressing change, so I got that done. But then I have to take the labs to a laboratory, right? And so I went to the closest hospital clinic for this patient, which was only a couple minutes away. And they do not have a laboratory right now because they can't staff a laboratory right now because of the number of open hospital positions. Should finish clipping rings tonight. Nice. I saw that pile you had. And weave and weave and weave. You're almost out of large rings, so we'll be coiling and cutting more in the morning. Nice. I'm almost out of large rings too, and I am not going to coil and cut more. I'm gonna call Wally and say, hey, send me some more rings. Because people who make their own rings are much braver than me. And I'm sure I've told that story before, but I made some very serious mistakes early on in Chainmail, and making my own rings was one of them. But I was also very young, right? So I'll forgive myself. But I'm not going to make my own rings again anytime soon, if ever. $30, 30 pounds of rings, man, it's a lot of rings. So I get to this first clinic, try to drop off labs, and you know, they don't have anybody to staff their laboratory, so it's been closed. Great. I gotta drive 20 minutes out of my way to go to the next laboratory. Fortunately, they had people there. Sharon Kirkpatrick Alger has liked the stream. Thank you. Got the labs dropped off, went off to my third patient, did her dressing change, and got to my absolute favorite patient right now. Right? This lady has an appointment. That appointment has been confirmed 3 times by 3 different people, with 3 different people. And she refuses to acknowledge that she has this appointment, and does things like tell people that we're canceling her appointments, and says we're not treating her, and I get to go document all that. It's so much fun. So she needs to go to this appointment so that we can get orders to provide her care, right? Oh, hey, that row's already done. Apparently that was where I left off. So, I try to be as patient as I can with this individual. She's just obstinate and wants things done her way. But what she wants done is actually counterintuitive to what she needs, and it's exacerbating her condition. But she's very, very insistent that it works, and you know, I'm not gonna do it because it's pretty obviously causing her more issues, and I don't have an order for it. So then I get home, and I'm just kind of wore out for the rest of the day, so I doom scroll for a little bit, go pick up my kid, and start my charting, and about, oh, I don't know, an hour into my charting, I get an email I have been waiting on. So I applied for a medical exemption for the thing, you know, that they give you in there, and I'm not going to say it, and, you know, if you need me to do this action again, right, to understand what I'm talking about, it's the thing that they give you in your shoulder. That's all the rave right now. So I applied for a medical exemption so that I don't end up in the ER over it, due to previous, you know, a previous history of issues with those things. And wouldn't you know it, it got denied. So now, I've got until Friday to comply, which it's not gonna happen. So, like, I'm not going to the ER for you. Sorry. And so Monday, I get to go and look for new employment. So we will see what happens. Since moving on from Galva, you did some BA, but soft for your liking. You live of live steel combat. When you started making mail these days, you make dainty stuff for your lady. Nice. Way to do it, man. So part of me is like, screw it, you know, I'll go find a job in a different field. Kind of tired of dealing with the medical field, right? But this job has afforded me several opportunities that I really like, others not so much. And this isn't like the first time I've had to do this for a job, right? Like, there have been a few others that I have left because of I don't want to say similar, but because there were issues with the company, right? So I'm not worried about it. But like I said, part of me wants to try and find an alternative way to stay in the medical field, and the other part of me is like, you know, it's kind of a shit show. Don't want to really have to bend over backwards for people and risk my life for them when they have no liability for what happens to me if I do. Just don't feel like doing that right now. Probably won't feel like that later. So, I don't know. There is a lot of different opportunities out there that I could pursue, and I don't know what I'm gonna go. I don't know what I'm gonna look for, and I don't know what I'm gonna apply for. But I am gambling on this. Okay, so a judge has halted. Oh, and okay. So the reason medical personnel have to get the you know what, right, is because the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services put out that they have to get it. And my company, about, I think they said like 70% of their revenue comes from CMS. So they want everyone to be compliant. Regardless, if you have to go to the ER and get an epinephrine shot and some IV Benadryl, They want everyone to be compliant, which is fine. I get it. It's not their fault. But my judge has already halted the mandate for CMS from CMS in 10 states, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to go down like the OSHA mandate that came out. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So here's my gamble. My gamble is that Hey, Kevin. Did you ever get your ladder back? So my gamble is that this is gonna probably not be a thing in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And so I might just hang out, look for something else, work on my website, try to sell some stuff, bring some money in. And then once it all blows over, go back and reapply for my job. I'll just take a extended leave of absence for a while. You didn't get it back? That sucks. I hate it when that crap happens. In case you don't know, Kevin was trying to be generous and help some guys out. And he let them borrow his ladder because they were doing dangerous stuff. And he has not got it back yet. I think that about sums up what happened. Who closed this ring? Jesus. You could fly a freaking Boeing 737 through the opening in this ring. Ah! Alright, now which ring was it? Crap. You know, fortunately, it's a ladder, right? They're replaceable, but it still sucks when people do that crap to you, you know? You're going to pay your neighbor a visit, there's a chance they stored it. Ah, hey, cross your fingers, man. It's probably in your neighbor's garage. He'd be like, nope, I don't know what ladder you're talking about there, bud. Excuse me. So, anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna walk away from this position for a little bit. See if this thing blows over like I think it's going to. And if it doesn't, I'll find something else, right? I'm just not, you know, gonna take on unnecessary risk just because people who hold no liability for what happens to me want me to. You know what I mean? You cross an earth thing you got? Oh, well, that simply won't do. Alright, out of the stuff that Wally has sent me, I think that's the second ring I've found with an issue with it to where I couldn't use it. Maybe 1 or 2 more, I don't know, but if you haven't been to Wally LaCroix's website, it's chain-reaction, is it .ca? Because he's in Canada? It might be .ca. But if you Google chain reaction, Chainmail, you would find his website. I don't have it. It is not on his sticker. He should fix that. These are probably stickers that he ordered in bulk, and he probably has to use them up before he orders more. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. I think. I don't know. I can't tell. You're pretty sure it's .ca? I am too. A good host would stop and verify. But I have my camera on my desk. And people get seasick from watching this camera when I move it around. No, it's not chain reaction chainmail, I don't think. Alright, hang on. Yeah, it's... There we go. the chain reaction chainmail brought you to a homepage. All right. He may have a link out there of some kind. But I'm gonna have to go to that website soon and order some more of these rings. I'm almost out, which is good. I mean, the whole point of streaming was to eradicate all the products I had down here and not order more rings. But I have, or only order rings to finish projects. So this project got magically started, and now I need to go ahead and order the rings to finish it eventually. It's not going to be done anytime soon, right? Like, I'm not ordering anything until maybe a couple Christmas presents, until after my income is secured again. So, which may be a little bit, which is fine. It's not the first time I've changed jobs. Fortunately, like, honestly, I'm gonna laugh if I have, oh, I should probably show you guys what I'm doing, but I'm gonna laugh if, right, like, I stop working on Monday technically, right, and then a couple weeks go by for like enough time for just my paid time off to cover, and then it's the CMS mandate's over, right, and then I go back to work. Gosh, you know, just a little leave of absence. Was I able to get all my bracelets finished? That project is not something that will ever be finished per se, but I did get a good 16 of them done and sent out. Only order rings I need. That would be some sort of blasphemy, except that's what got me into this position where I have a whole bunch of rings I wanted to experiment with, and then some were specifically for projects, but I either didn't finish those projects or I didn't have projects for those rings, and so now I am trying to clear out a bunch of the older projects so that I can eventually order rings for new projects, right? And in this endeavor, I've come across Wally's rings, and for the bracelets, I ordered rings from Josh Dilberto. Y'all know Josh, right? And I will only be ordering rings from Josh from now on for stainless. I'll try some of his other stuff, but his and Wally's precision on their rings has been second to none so far, right? These rings, where's Josh's rings? Where's a bag? Oh, okay. This is a bag of Josh's stainless steel 18 gauge 1/4 inch rings. These are like 12 gauge 3/8 aluminum, right? These are both ridiculously clean when I got them. There are no burrs on these. There are no flaws in almost any of them. I might find a ring or two here, but man, other ring manufacturers I have had plenty of issues with, to the point where, like, I'm not going to order certain things from them. So you sit here blasphemous. How will you clear your guilt? What did you do? What is going on? Alright. So, oh, and, Cat, before I sold off the large lot of bracelets, I had sold 3 bracelets before I even got to the point where I was sending them out to the individual they were going to. So. Oh, you only order rings you need? Well, you know, I mean, okay, so I bought a bunch of rings. I did not use them. I did not have projects in mind for them. Some of them got used. I would say the bulk of them got used, okay? I do have a shelf over here by the windows full of projects, right? There's, I don't know, probably 30 projects sitting on that shelf completed. It's not a small amount of rings, and 3 chainmail shirts on stands over there, and a whole bunch of quasi-finished stuff, right? Like I've got some belts that I want to add some leather to. I've got a guitar strap I want to change up a little bit. Like it's a finished project, right? So a lot of what I ordered did get used. Maybe about a third of it didn't, and has been sitting around for 10 years, probably longer. You need them all? Yeah, exactly. They've just been sitting for so long, and I was like, you know, I was living here in Wisconsin. I was depressed. I hadn't been doing any chainmail at all. I wasn't reading. I was doom scrolling on Facebook for years when I got up here, right? Like I wasted a ton of time. Just because I had seasonal affect depression once we moved up here, and I didn't realize it. It took me a long time to realize it. But now I'm on that vitamin D, and so the good things 90% of rings don't expire. Yeah. All right, are these all even? I think I'm just gonna add one more row around the edge. It is a good thing rings don't expire. So I've got the seasonal depression kind of resolved. Like I moved up here and I didn't want to do anything, and I drank all the time, right? So between the drinking and the weather, which I was not used to, I was just not doing anything, right? And I had this pile of rings sitting down here, and I was like, you know what? I'll start streaming. Let's see, if I stream, then at least an hour a night, I'll get stuff done little by little, and I've actually finished a ridiculous amount of projects down here. And I don't drink as much as I used to. I try to keep it strictly to the weekends. Had quite the... I had more than I should have this weekend, probably, but I survived. You know? And I made it to work on Monday just fine. Actually, I didn't have anything to drink last night. But I did sit down and I watched a couple of TV shows. I don't normally watch TV shows, right? Because I think most of them are garbage. But occasionally like a Mandalorian comes out. God. There was another show that came out. There's been a couple of them that have come out that I've watched. So the new World of Time series has come out, and I am definitely going to watch that. That is something. Like, I'm all caught up at the moment, right? And I kind of want to stop, reread the books, because I've never finished the last 2 or 3. I don't remember. But last night, I got out The Eye of the World, which is the first book in the series of The Wheel of Time. and I read. Now, I have a hard time reading just because there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of other things that I have to do, right? I read, and I read for about 4 hours, maybe more. And it was just very peaceful and enjoyable. It's like, okay, I can sit down and do this. I can make time for this. I'll try not to let it take away from too many other things, but I need to focus on social media being only a business event, right? I don't need to be sitting there doom scrolling on everything, right? I can make posts about my business, or I can make like a TikTok video or something, but I don't want to allow myself to just sit there and scroll, you know? So hopefully I can keep it up. The very first order of real rings, not those rings you get from a craft store. You had no idea what you were doing. Order like 1 pound of quarter stainless steel, maybe. So the bag, and opened. You don't tend to do anything larger than 18 gauge. Someday you're going to use them for something. Heck yeah. I have a bag of 18 gauge 3/8 rings, right? Most ridiculous ring I think I've ever ordered. I can think of a few uses for them, but they are very wiry and very difficult to close, right? Like anything you made them into, you could just rip it apart because they have no ability to hold themselves closed. The aspect ratio is just too high, right? I still have them. One day, if I ever get a sparkle welder, I will use that to weld all the little closures shut and move on about my day, after I make them into whatever. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people they don't know what they're doing. And I'm not smart enough to ask questions. I didn't know too many people to ask. So it was one of my very first orders. I thought I had been using 14 gauge galvanized steel wire, 3/8 of an inch around, and I thought that 18 gauge wasn't that much smaller, but it is. It is a lot smaller. I just had no concept of what the sizes were, which I think that's fairly normal. So, all right, we're getting somewhere. I don't know where, but this bag has, I mean, you can't, it's getting some depth to it, right? I probably need to maybe triple the rings I've ordered so far. I mean, this doesn't say how many ounces in it. I don't think it's much more than an ounce, right? That I've ordered. I think this is 2 ounces, right? And if I order 3 ounces, we might have a decent sized bag with a decent chance of closing nicely, and someone will like it, right? Has anybody else watched the Wheel of Time series or read the books? I read them multiple times when I was growing up. Almost nearly as many times as I read the Redwall series, a young adult's children's series, rather. And so far, I like the TV adaptation of the books. I know not everybody's going to be pleased, but the 4th episode, I was like, okay, you know what? This is going to be different from the books, and I'm okay with that. I'm just going to immerse myself in the TV adaptation as best I can, which is why I want to hold off watching it until I reread all the books. And then just sit down and binge it. Right? I love a good show binge when I'm really into the show. I don't like waiting for shows. You know, just what's the culture? Immediate consumer culture, instant gratification culture, right? You were handed a starter kit from a friend. He completed projects, unused rings, tools. It was a backpack full of stuff. He handed it to me and said, "Have fun." That was 2 years ago, gone on 3 years. It has been a blast. That's good. That's awesome. If I ever get to the point where I'm able to, like, interview people, that's definitely, you know, your chainmail origin story. It's definitely going to be one of my questions for nearly everyone, or the origin story on whatever they make, right? Like, I got a friend that makes shields. I don't know how he started getting into making shields. I got a lot of leatherworking friends, a lot of metalworking friends, a lot of chainmail friends, and I think a show, and I know I keep bringing it up and I haven't worked on it at all, but I think a show that was dedicated to just talking to artists about their work and what they do, right? I think that would be really fun for everyone. I think that would be something everyone can enjoy. And there's enough crafts and hobbies out there, you know, to interview people for a while, you know? All right, we're nearing the end of the ring supply. I'm just gonna keep adding. I'm not gonna sew up these seams until I have the desired length that I want on this bag. It would be a good question for the hive. You know, I got invited to a group that someone had found a piece of chainmail in the Thames River, right? So instantly, Thames River, lots of historical stuff going on in that part of the world. Chainmail, definitely a big part of their culture, and, you know, long periods of time throughout their history over in England. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. It doesn't look like a historical piece, but you might post it in the chainmail group, and there are a lot of historians who know X, Y, and Z about this stuff. You might find some more information in there. Okay. And I told him what I thought. It didn't look like iron in the condition he found it in, where he was at. From what I understand, iron chainmail does not last a long time in those, you know, wet conditions. Just kind of rusts away. And the rings were butted. I didn't see any riveted rings on there. It was kind of blackened and rusty. So my guess was it was a piece of galvanized hobby, chainmail that someone had made in their home and lost a piece of it after one of their reenactments. That was my most likely guess. But, I'm not a historian. I don't know all the everything to look for. Okay. I mean, the cuts looked like they were made with a modern pair of snips, but I don't have the historical background to tell. So I suggested he post it in the Chainmail group, and for some reason he couldn't post it, and I don't know if it was rejected, but I do know that the Chainmail group has been having a lot of problems with people's posts, and I don't know if he tried to share it from a page and he just didn't know to not do that. So I'll send him a message again about posting it. But anyway, it was really cool, What do I know? It very well could be a piece of historical armor that goes to part of a museum display that they keep in the back because they're missing that one piece. I don't know. You've never run into anyone else who does brass engraving that you do? Okay. You do brass engraving. See? Even in this little conversation we're having, people that don't do chainmail. Speaking of chainmail and hobbies, where's John? John, are you still watching? John's got a leather stamp that makes a chainmail pattern. I have one too, okay? But I have not had a chance to sit down and play with mine very much. And like him, I am considering, or I am wanting to use it in conjunction with my chainmail pieces. Figure you can probably make some really cool stuff with it. So, I'm excited. If you haven't seen the post John made about his chainmail leather stamp, you go find it. It's pretty cool. Someone posted it in the Chainmail group, and that was like one of the fastest things I've ever bought online without question. Like, someone posted it, and within 10 minutes I had it on the way. Yeah, a leather stamp. Let's see here. I've actually got it right here. My foot's numb. I almost fell over. So, this is just practice stuff, right? Some of it my son did. And this is the stamp for it, right? Don't ask me the link, I don't know. Came from like Hungary or Bulgaria or something. But it was off, I think it was off an Etsy shop that I got it. Oh. But it's cool. So, I'm super excited about that. Now we need someone to focus on all the different weaves and make leather stamps for all the different weaves. That would be cool. Talk about a super niche item. Y'all say niche or niche? You've done a 6x6 sheet so far? Yeah. Maybe during my time off here, in the next week or so, I will spend an hour or two playing with my... Alright, this is kind of the last of the 12 gauge 3H rings I've got. Nice to use them up, but I know that I'll need more, so This is... I'll have to look at my order slip. I think... Or I could measure it. I wonder if I weigh it, if I get a right answer. That's a link to it? Nice. You want to combine the engraving and mail? Me too. Me too. You've been forging your own metal engravers for the last 4 months? Nice. But metal engravers, right? Like a hardened steel stamp that... Wait, engraver. I don't know anything about engraving. Never mind. All right. Well, that's lovely. One ring shy of finishing that row. Let's do this. I'm gonna tag this row by leaving this last ring like hanging out by itself, and hopefully the next time I have rings come in, I will notice that one strange ring sitting there, knowing that I need to fix this edge. All right, so that is a little longer. Well, we had it here. There we go. A little bit longer. This all needs to be seamed together. It's gonna tighten up, right? And it's gonna kind of look like that when it's done. We've gone around the curve and are going straight up now into the body of the bag. And we'll just figure out, we'll probably double this, right? It'll probably end up being about yay big. So it'll be a decent little bag. Gotta find a cool way to close it. And it's like, it's aluminum, but this is 12 gauge 3/8 aluminum rings. I'm not, yeah, you could like pry this apart with tension, but you know, as long as you just don't do that, you'll be fine. You could probably do it with steel if you were doing the same thing. Where are we at here? 4921. Alrighty. Okay. Oh, you know what else I did today? I got into an argument about politics on the internet, which I don't typically do, right? Like, I only made a couple comments, right? And then some guy says something along the lines, well, that's not true. You're completely wrong. And I said, okay. It's like a couple people and I, we weren't having an argument necessarily. We were having a little bit of a discussion before it gets into the 300 and 400 comment section, you know, under someone's post, right? And it's like, I'm not interested in doing that. I've been the perpetuator and been someone who participates in those things. But that is not, like, I've wasted way too much time doing that in my life, right? So anymore, whenever someone disagrees with me, I just say, okay, and I move on. Because I'm not going to sit here and try and convince people that they're right or wrong. All right. Well, we started a little early. When you tried to Hulk it apart and it laughed at you, I'll bet it did. I could totally